This is Ferdinand Magellan.
And on a sailing of 1519, the Magellan Expedition, he discovered the Philippine Islands. When Ferdinand gained the support of the Spanish king, Charles I, he was the first European to travel the Pacific Ocean as sea exploration gained fame. On March 16, 1521, Ferdinand landed on the island of Homanon, then known as Humumu. He stayed for 8 days, where he met the ruling brothers, Raja Kulambo, ruler of Limasawa, and Raja Siagu, ruler of Wotan. The rulers kissed the cross and prayed, making them the first Filipinos to encounter Christianity. Magellan and his fleet sailed to Cebu to convert more natives to Christianity. On Sunday, April 21st, 1521, the king and queen of Cebu and their subjects embraced the faith, converting to Christianity, though he later got in a skirmish with the natives and died due to a poison arrow. The islands remained vacant with the exception of the natives until about 1564, when Luis de Velasco, the second viceroy of New Spain, now known as Mexico, ordered Miguel Lopez de Legazpi to establish Spanish domination and create settlements, to which he arrived in 1565. The goal of Luis de Velasco was to find an alternate route to Moluccas, to gain more riches for Spain against Portugal. Spreading Christianity in Asia, especially China, was also a great deal. Miguel became the first governor of the Philippines under European rule and established the capital of Manila. Spain continued domination for the next 3 centuries. Over the years, many Filipinos were forced to convert, gaining control of the Catholic Church in the Philippines. Spanish laws increased tensions for the nation, such as creating forced labor systems like the repartimiento system, which required labor of citizens to Spanish authority, or the bandala system, which required agriculture products given to Spanish authority. To avoid tribute, many citizens joined the military, furthering the power of Spain. Spain restricted Filipino religious rights, who were previous animists, and restricted political participation in the government, as 1821 to 1889 was a forced monarchy. The Asian slave trade was introduced to the Philippines by Spain with the introduction of the encomienda system, and sold thousands of Filipinos to Mexico. The Asian slave trade was later then banned in 1574, but the colony's distant location delayed abolition for over a century. Because of the rising tension, there were many uprisings and revolts before the Revolution, although most failed due to the majority of the population siding with the heavily armed colonial government. Andres Bonifacio led and founded the Kataas-Taasang Kagalang-galang na Katipunan ng Anak ng Bayan in 1892 with a group of nationalists, which means the highest and most respected order of Dimisalang, also known as the Katipunan or KKK. If you're American, you may notice the name similarity with the Ku Klux Klan, but that has nothing to do with this topic. Although, interestingly enough, there have been some incidents in the 1920s where they've gotten confused in newspapers. Continuing on, the Katipunan was a secret society looking for the future of an independent Philippines until its eventual discovery in August 19, 1896, just 4 years later. Earlier that year, the Angkalayan was created, the first and only official published works created by Pio Valenzuela, Andres Bonifacio, Emilio Jacinto, and other sworn brothers of the Katipunan in March 1896. Although published as January, in order to trick the Spanish. The work was laborious and took lots of effort, but the 1,000 to 2,000 copies, according to the accounts of Pio Valenzuela and Emilio Jacinto, of the newspaper, exposed Spanish abuses and promoted patriotism. As the Spanish began getting suspicious, they learned of Katipunan and raided the place where the Kalayan was being printed. Luckily, the members learned the plans to raid and burnt the evidence pointing towards them. Therefore, the Spanish never found evidence of the Kalayan. The Kalayan helped swell the ranks to the Katipunan, winning more people to its side against the Spanish. On August 29, 1896, the first real battle of the Philippine Revolution occurred, the Battle of San Juan del Monte. The cry of Bugad Lawan happened when the people pulled out their cedulas and ripped them, defying the Spanish government. The 800 Katipuneros, 1,000 men, and a local police force attacked the civil guards at 7 p.m., who surrendered. They headed to El Polvorin with bolo knives, pre-colonial Philippine knives, few assorted guns, bamboo spears, and anting-anting, amulets that protected them in Philippine spiritual beliefs. Although this armor may have looked insignificant compared to the Spanish, who were armed with German Mauser rifles. The Katipunan arrived at Polvorin at midnight, joining 100 more Katipunero, 2 of which were women. Before noon, under the command of General Bernardo Echulese y Jorague, Philippine officers arrived as Spanish reinforcements to combat the suppressing rebellion, and they were armed with Remington rolling block rifles. General Bernardo Echulese y Jorague successfully deleted the Katipunan in this battle, leaving 150 dead and 200 others captured and injured. The first battle may have been unsuccessful for the Katipunan, but that didn't stop them for the next 2 years. On another note, a successful battle for the Philippines was the Battle of Tayabas, which started on June 24, 1898, and lasted 2 months. When Emilio Aguinaldo, the president of the Philippines, signed the Pact of Biak na Bato with the governor and Captain General Fernando Primo de Rivera y Sacramento on December 14, 1897, which ended the first phase of the Philippine Revolution. While they signed this pact, generals of the revolution, such as Paciano Rizal and Miguel Malvar, continued fighting against Spain. On June 15, 1898, Miguel Malvar created the Batangas Brigade and crossed the border of Tayabas province. The siege of Tayabas started on the 24th, which was said to have intense guerrilla warfare and jungle fighting. The Filipino soldiers were winning and advancing as they were supplied with new weapons and ammunition from Aguinaldo as Malvar's forces slowly wrestled the provinces with the Spaniards. Though the main Filipino army had Mausers and more modern weapons, many other Katipunero who joined were armed with knives and spears. Luckily, the advanced weaponry of the Spanish was neutralized due to the fighting of the dangerous habitat of Mount Banahaw. The Spanish effort was being depleted, and the soldiers were ill from diseases such as malaria and dysentery. On August 13, 1898, the Spanish surrendered, the defeat being formalized by the signing of a surrender document. The United States joined the Philippines against Spain on April 21, 1898. This concluded the Spanish domination in the Philippines with the Battle of Manila Bay, also known as the Battle of Cavite, during the Spanish-American War. The Battle of Manila Bay happened on May 1, 1898, and all Spanish ships were sunk or destroyed. Unfortunately, although this led to the end of Spain control in the Philippines, it led to the military rule of the U.S. controlling the Philippines when Spain ceded its long-lasting colony to America by signing the Treaty of Paris on December 10, 1898. The U.S. declared military rule of the Philippines on December 21, 1898. On February 4, 1899, the Philippine-American War began when American forces patrolling shot a Filipino soldier. The soldiers then returned fire. In 1902, the U.S. changed the military government in the Philippines to a citizen-controlled government. This allowed the male citizens to vote, and women began voting in 1937. Finally, the United States granted full independence of the Philippines on July 4, 1946, by signing the Treaty of Manila after it underwent Japanese control in World War II. Yet, the Philippines has Independence Day on June 12, created by President Diosdado Macapagal in 1962 to commemorate the 1898 Filipino Proclamation. Although Spain lost control of the Philippines, there is still lots of Spanish influence in the Philippines today. Before colonization, the Philippines were not one nation, but known as multiple islands. Islam spread to some parts of the Philippines, while most were animists with inspiration of Hinduism and Buddhism. Many believed in the Tagalog supreme deity, Bathala, who was known to be the ruler and creator of the universe. There were also different ethnic groups such as Tagalog, Kapampanjan, and Bicolano. After colonization, the influence is still apparent. Looking at the architecture of the large Catholic churches, towering bell towers, and elegant facades, it is visible that these styles emerged when the Spanish invaded in the 16th century. It is also said that the flag of the Philippines, the sun represents the 8 provinces that first sought independence from Spain. The blue represents peace, justice, sacrifice, and truth. The red represents bravery, courage, and patriotism. Finally, the white triangle is liberty and equality. Even while the Philippines beat the Spanish in the Revolution, many historians refer to this as a successful failure due to the after-American War effects. No matter what you take it as, these events, that are largely uninformed or taught to students alike, led up to the independence of the Philippines, holding up to 115.6 million people in the archipelago today.